I appreciate you jumping on this I want to say call it a call, but doing this for me. This is really about me helping more people through sharing stories. And so, you have your own story in dealing with back pain. You have your own life story, things that you love to do, challenges in your own life. And I know that ever since you hurt your back way back when, it's been a journey of up and downs. And so I'm honored that you come on here and talk a little bit about what's been going on in your journey.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the invite, brother. And just our connection from me groveling on the ground to the flying high as a 40-year-old to back to the ground and again, I feel like I at least owe you this podcast if it can help you or anyone else going through back pain. So
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna get into your story, man. But obviously, being a hooper, being someone who plays sport consistently. I mean, anyone who plays basketball knows the whole like ball is life. When you're in, man, you're all in. And I know that was a huge part of something that you weren't able to do, among many other things. So I want to jump into that. But before we get into the nitty gritty of your actual back pain journey, talk to me a little bit about like who you actually are outside of your back pain. What do you do for work? What's your family life like? Just give me an overview.
yeah, for sure. So just a handsome father of two, happily married, and I would say you're typical creative. So not so much anymore, but I used to spend no, I guess it's actually the same. I spent a ton of time sitting at my desk editing videos, editing creative pieces. It's kind of hard because I'm going back right now. I got the standing desk, so now I'm not
Let's
just hunch
go.
over. But let's say back in the day, I'm sitting at my desk editing all day, playing sports as much as possible, sports aka basketball, and playing with my two young ones. So they're 6 and 9 now, so chasing them around, they're super active. So whether it's soccer, basketball, or trying to do some version of gymnastics with them, probably just a cartwheel or somersault at most, but yeah, pretty your standard dad, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Standard
Yeah.
Canadian dad. So I appreciate you giving that overview just for people who are listening, because
Yeah.
again, I opened up saying he's a baller, and you're like, nah, I'm a standard dad. I play
Standard
basketball
dad, man.
sometimes, yeah. But before all this started with like the back, how would you describe the relationship you had with your body and movement? So we obviously were playing basketball, but how would you describe that relationship with your body before the back pain?
Sure. For before the back pain, so I played college ball for 4 years and I'm a basketball junkie. So to your point, I'm a hooper for sure because ball is life. I've been playing, before high school and 4 years college and just as many games and leagues as I possibly could. So the funny thing about that is I'm a basketball player, but never necessarily like a weight training guy. I would do your standard like, you know, beach body type workouts. So just chest, all chest, maybe some squats or something, but never really like in tune with that. I'm just like play more, you'll be stronger, you'll be in better shape. So that's kind of my relationship with it. And then in terms of that, it's like playing ball. We all know any sport, you're going to take your bumps and bruises. So I would do that, essentially whine about it, heal up, do whatever trend I could, find or ice, compression, all that stuff, and then I would just play again. So before the back pain, I definitely had, or the before we met and kind of really dove into the back pain stuff, I would have what I can recognize looking back as flare-ups, but I'm like, oh, it's because I'm jumping a lot. I've been playing ball so much. So it's just kind of what happens. And then add in a little bit maybe after college, oh, the jokes about you're getting older now or you're not, whatever. So I would just kind of go with it, heal up, and then play again. So that was the relationship was just this is my body, just go full force. You get hurt, it's part of sports, chill out, and then just play again. So I don't know, you kind of making me reflect on what kind of relationship was that. You know what I mean? It's just like this is my vessel. I'm just pound it into the ground and just wait for it to heal up again is kind of a weird one to look back at.
Yeah. But I mean, that's like a very common thing because I think as you're younger, you heal quick.
Yeah, yeah,
you
true,
know,
true,
but
true.
when you get older, you don't heal as quick, right?
Yeah,
So like there is a thing, I don't like people. I don't like when people say, "Hey, you're this is happening because you're getting older." I don't necessarily think that's completely valid, but we do
Yeah.
have to acknowledge the fact that your body does not recover as quickly. Your body is deteriorating as you get older. Like these are actual true things.
Yeah,
But a
right.
lot of times we combine that with, like you said, now when I was young, I was in college when I was doing X, Y, and Z. I didn't spend 8 to 12 hours sitting in front of my computer as well.
Right.
So you combine all that, like, you don't recover as well. The movements you are doing every day are like diminished.
Yeah.
And then, you're being more of like a sedentary body, but you're like, I'm still gonna play this sport. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
hard, right? And eventually that like comes to a clash. You're like, I can't keep doing this, man.
Yeah.
But so then when we kind of hinted a little bit at your back pain thing, we talked about how active you are with ball. You're a father, husband, all that. What was the lowest point with the back, physically, mentally, emotionally?
So the lowest point, so we'll fast forward. It was and I wish it was more for the pod, I wish it was more of a dramatic story, but it's kind of boring, but I think people going through it will relate is I've been working these kind of jobs. I had the kids, I've been hooping still maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And then I wish there was an exact moment that I could name, but we had just moved, so maybe we can point it at that. But nonetheless, I had a flare up in my back where I couldn't even sit on the ground properly. I couldn't lay properly. I couldn't like touch. Most people, I want to say, some people can't touch their toes, but I couldn't even slightly bend over. And so the lowest point happened there because now my like therapeutic basketball sessions, whether it's games, scrimmages, or just shooting around, didn't exist. I literally couldn't bend over to pick up the ball or jump to shoot. And then there was another point where I have pretty athletic kids for their age, so I couldn't catch he would have been maybe 7 years old. I couldn't chase him on the soccer field. I couldn't catch him. And he's
Yeah.
fast, but he ain't that fast yet, right? And so the low point started to creep in when I couldn't do simple everyday tasks and it was
Mm,
lasting, it felt like forever. And so that changes because at that time I'm also editing, which I need to sit at my desk and I can't even sit at my desk to edit. So
mm,
now it's just like every day you're a little bit more beat up. You know what I mean? So I can't do the fun things I do. I'm pretty chill guy. I don't do a ton of extra stuff. So basketball is kind of a big thing for me. I can't do it. Playing with my kids, that's something I love to do. Can't do it the same. I remember
mm.
my younger one, he tried to jump on my back. uh, you know, any parent knows if you're on the ground, your kid is gonna jump on your back at some point. I remember he tried to do that. Even my wife's like, "Oh, don't do it, don't do it." And I was like, "Whoa!" I'm like,
Oh man.
38, 39, 40. Like I'm not that guy. Like he has to be able to climb on my back. So it's just like death by a thousand cuts when you're in a like the flare up that I was in. So that was kind of
Mm,
the lowest point overall.
That was kind of when, because you had mentioned back issues before, but you rest up or it's tight or whatever. But that was where it was real for you because the things that you love to do are just not available to you anymore.
That's it. When I was younger, I would have these flare-ups, but it's like I have no kids, so okay, you can just like lay around all day and wait for it to get you don't have
Yeah.
things you have to do. Or maybe my job at that time, I wasn't necessarily like in the past flare-ups, I wasn't necessarily running my own business. So not to put this out, you can just call in sick and oh, my back hurts, I can't
Yep.
work.
Yeah.
Or I remember one job I was on light duties. It doesn't hit you the same where it's your company, so I have to edit. I have to be in meetings and I can't
Mm,
do them. Plus you add in the kid stuff, it's just like it was too yeah, it's getting to be too much.
yeah. It's like the two things that you are doing, a father,
Yeah.
father, husband job. It's like all, and then the thing you like to do, every single one of those were
Yeah.
diminished or eliminated altogether in some
Yeah,
cases.
exactly. Exactly.
Then
And I
what
want to
was,
add
what?
I want to add one thing too, which is kind of it could be overlooked. Sometimes when you're hurt or if you're sick, you're like, "Oh, I'll just like chill out. I'll just lay down or I'll just sleep," like whatever it is. But when you're in that back flip, you can't even just lay down. So you're
Mm,
like, "I'm trying to
yeah.
do the bare minimum. I'm just gonna kick back and relax." You actually can't even do that. So that's
Yeah.
where it starts to really wear on you. You're like, I'm just trying to lay down or sit down, and you can't
Mm.
do it, you know? So it's, yeah, really, it can be heavy for sure.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point because if you hurt your knee or something, just put it up or
Yeah,
sit down. Fine,
yeah,
right? Straighten it out. You're all right. You can
yeah,
still, but you can't sleep.
yeah, you know?
Your whole life is, like you can't sit, you can't
Yeah,
relax. So
yeah,
I mean, in all this here, obviously that these things are taken away. You're not able to do stuff. Literally, like the things that you do as a human at this point are
yeah.
starting to be affected, like sleep and just relaxing. What was the scariest part, or maybe the most frustrating part of not being able to trust your body?
For me, I'm not sure why it hit. But the scariest part was I was walking my kids to school, and we have like a very short walk. It's 5 minutes and a small hill. And I remember walking up the hill, and on my left foot had this weird kind of like numb or fuzzy sensation. And I don't know what it was about that, but it let me know like that's nerves, that's like like spine, and it just kind of freaked me out where I'm like, I can't really feel my left foot. And so because I didn't have much like knowledge or information on this, I only pictured the worst. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have drop foot or like whatever that thing is where people like literally limp and their foot.
Hmm.
So that freaked me out. I won't lie. That freaked me out big time. And so that was yeah, when I think about spine and back and nerve issues, and then obviously I had the shooting pains running down my hamstring and my
Hmm.
glute and stuff, but it was the not feeling my left foot the same way that, yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah, yeah, that's big time because now you're thinking. It's one thing to be like, oh, my back sore or this type of thing, but when you get the feelings of nerves. I remember the first time it happened to me, like, similar story, right? Like I've neglected, it's fine. It's just this. I throw it out. I remember throwing my back out, crawling around for 2 days and like, oh, get
Yeah,
up and play. I'll be playing basketball 2 days later. It's fine.
yeah,
But when that nerve pain comes in, it's like, this is not the same. Like, this is a different kind of pain. Like, and straight away, you like know something's wrong. It's
yeah.
crazy.
And you
Yeah.
don't, I didn't know like I'm like, does it come back? I didn't know,
Mm,
is it, like once it's damaged like that, is that the feeling I have forever and then down? I didn't know if it could come back. So that's what kind of, it really freaked me out.
yeah. So then you're going through all this thing. Everything's, real tough on your end. What kind of things did you actually turn to try to fix it?
Um, I would say the worst is I went Google MD. So, so, everyone knows, I'm pretty sure it's memes now. It's like if you Google
Yeah.
when you have a headache, you pretty much have like 24 hours to live. Like
Yeah.
it's the worst, right? And so I tried Google and I tried, it would have suggested like sleep this way or do this stretch, but in hindsight, it's just too much unfiltered information. And when I'm not, like I'm far from an expert in back pain, let alone just working out or any. So I'm just Googling everything, and I don't know how to read it. Basically, I don't know how to filter
Mm,
out what actually can help me. And so I just tried that, and I didn't do any like yoga classes or something specific because I didn't even know what to do. So okay, maybe
yeah.
sleep this way, or maybe do this stretch, but nothing was consistent enough for me to actually make any real progress with it.
Yeah. You were in the I'll fix it myself stage where
Absolutely.
YouTube University is what I call it, or Google,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And yeah, and everyone I think goes through that phase at some point, right? Because you're like, man, if I just need to fix this, whatever this thing is, I can
yeah,
fix it. I can't be the only one. We obviously go to Google, like you said,
yeah,
and then you start to like get the info you need to make the decision that you think, and you try stuff.
yeah. And I'm just
Yeah,
stubborn, right? So I'm like,
yeah,
I know what to do. I don't need an expert. I can figure it out.
yeah.
I didn't figure it out that way.
Yeah. Well, what actually changed for you, man? Like, what was the point where you started to figure it out? Was there a moment or a glimmer of hope? Like, what was the actual shift that, got you
Um,
on the right path?
yeah, I think it was a nice combo. So the fear, as we know, I'm in a group where someone talked about we don't change anything till we're in pain and things like that. So it's like I
Yeah.
think it had been enough. I think the pain of not being able to run around and play with my kids, the pain of not being able to do any type of basketball, and then also the fear of not having feeling in my foot. That was
Mm.
yeah, that was too much. And so thank you to social media and the algorithm, I had been
Mhm.
watching your stuff, um, who knows, probably for years. Do you know what I mean? And so I think at that point I probably sent you a DM like some soft launch of, "Hey man, what's going on? Have this weird thing happening." So I think that was just the change is take away enough things and then add in, physical pain and then mental pain of like you might not be able to use your foot anymore. You might have
Mm.
I think it's called drop foot, right?
It is
Something like
dropper. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what's called. Yeah.
you might have drop foot, so you might limp around for the rest of your that was like, bro, let's reach out for some help here.
Yeah. So then why do you reach out to the, Instagram guy and not go to the doctor, go to a physical therapist? Like why did you go solo and you like skip like 3 steps? Because most people I see, it's like before they get to me, they have tried the medical route or tried the physical, they've done Chinese medicine.
Yeah,
Then they
yeah.
finally get to me. Why was I ahead of all that in your case?
That's a good question. One, I'm not like anti-doctor. Maybe it's like my old like, like immigrant parents or my dad. Like I don't really go to the doctor
Mm.
like that. Regular checkups or whatever, let's do that. But I'm not like a immediately go to the hospital, go to the doctor guy. But I will add some context is years prior, I was working a delivery job and I hurt my back. And I did go to Emerge because I had some version of what I had before I met you. And to be honest, it was so underwhelming. I don't even know what happened or what they explained, but it was enough for me to get put on light duties at work. And there was no
Mm.
like, okay, go to this physio, follow up here. I'm pretty stubborn already, but I can't even recall there was a plan. It was
Mm.
someone's even asked me like, "Oh, what'd you do before?" I'm like, "I don't know," because everyone knows like, "Oh, I injured my L, whatever." I don't
Yeah.
actually know. So that was my experience of the hospital. But when I came across your stuff, I think what hits is you were so open and that you already went through this. And
Mm.
the big thing is like yours is like I was paralyzed on this side. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
not to yeah, whatever. Yours is that. So I'm like, hey, mine ain't that bad yet. Like maybe he
Yeah.
knows,
Yeah.
maybe he knows a thing or two that could help me. So I think, and it's also a DM away. It's so much
Yeah.
faster. It's immediate reaction. Do you know what I mean? In our dopamine filled lives, I can just DM you
Yeah.
and see right away. So that's kind of why I skipped probably the more traditional steps or maybe more obvious steps. But
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense, man. And I kind of wanted to provide some clarity with that because I'm always curious. I was more of actually a selfish thing because I'm always curious, like, you know, when people decide to go to the guy on Instagram and why.
yeah,
Because I'll tell some people, I'm like, so why'd you go to the guy on Instagram? Like, what's the Instagram brought you to me? So why are we talking?
yeah,
So it's always interesting with that.
yeah.
What's So obviously we started working together. What whether was there a certain time when there was like a glimmer of hope or a moment for you where something started to physically or change mentally that you can remember, like some breakthrough or some pivotal moment in the journey?
Yeah, I don't know if there was necessarily one spot. I will have full disclosure here where when I started in the program, I remember you being like, okay, here's some it would be like cat camel or bird dog stuff.
Yeah.
I literally remember doing it. And the thing that you're so good at drilling home is like listen to your body. If there's pain, don't push through the pain. Stop just before the pain, but still do
Hmm.
the movement. And
Hmm.
so even to this day, there's some movements I'm doing uh that I'm doing the regressed version and I still have the default thing. I'm like, is this doing anything? Like, so if it's bird dog, no weights,
Yeah.
no anything, and I'm doing a
Yeah.
regressed version at this time, I'm like, I'm barely moving. I'm doing like 30% of the thing. I was like, this ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Mm.
this really ain't gonna work. But there was then just moments throughout the whole thing where it's maybe because your app and your system is so good at making me film myself working out, which I never do, and also the scoring system of how do you feel today
Mm.
specifically out of 20. So these little metrics that I had to track daily or per workout, those gave me like essentially the glimmer of hope because I could see, oh, like I can actually see. Yesterday I felt super bad, 20 out of 20. I couldn't do anything. Where, a week later or so,
Yeah.
oh, 15 out of 20 today. And then also filming myself work out, I don't do it, but then I could start to see like, oh, I can move a little better. I'm crawling differently. I could lift this way. So it was more so the whole system where I can, you know, you've helped me know we can feel crappy every day, but is it how crappy is it? Are you feeling slightly
Yeah.
less crappy? And so
Yeah.
that kind of helped because to the point, eventually you'll feel pretty good, but you need to be able to measure it against something. And so seeing the workouts look better and then seeing my numbers, that's kind of what gave me the glimmer of hope, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I love the way you kind of broke that down because the way to summarize that in one way, for those are like, you'll know what I'm going to say right away is like you've built the mind body connection. So
Right.
through filming yourself, through essentially journaling and talking about each movement, through
Right.
me now breaking down your film and showing you, you
Right.
start to identify how you should be moving when you're pushing through pain. And then you can transfer this onto like, everyday life or future training. It's like
Yeah.
you're learning your limits and your capacities
Yeah.
through a journaling and everything like that. And then now you have the ability to say like, oh, you know what? You can kind of intuitively check in. It takes
Yeah.
time,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you build that in and then you're like, oh, this is more of a natural ability for me to do without having to like write it all down and do all that stuff. Right. So
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah, yeah. No, I love that. I love that because again, like it's for me, it's the secret out of the chronic pain loop
Yeah. Right.
is to have that ability in like innate ability or at least be aware of that it is an ability you should have, and then you can always work on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So then okay, so that was a big breakthrough for you with regards to like, okay, like this training, I'm recording myself, I'm tracking the pain. Were there any habits, practices, things that were like foundational during your recovery that you felt like this moves the needle? This actually helps me.
Yeah, it's I've never even used this term before the body rebuild system, but is the microdose workouts.
Yeah.
So I'm old school, so it's like my mentality before was like, okay, I'm doing a workout, I have to go to the gym for 60 to 90 minutes, and that's a workout, and then I can whatever. Where you were able to kind of teach me that like you can do 5 minutes at home on the floor and 10 minutes later and in specific movements, right? So you kind of say pick five, pick three, and those help me to realize like I'm just helping my back throughout the whole day as opposed to just one session. Also with that, if you missed that workout session that day because whatever, work, kids, family, then you miss the whole day. You're like, oh, okay, I'll get it tomorrow. Oh, okay, I'll
Mm-hmm.
get it tomorrow. Where when you're able to help me build in microdose workouts, you don't necessarily miss a day ever because you're like, I have 7 minutes right now to do this movement. I have 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of was a huge shift. And then also just really listening to your body. So sometimes when I'm editing and sitting so long, you would get sore, but you're just like so keen on finishing the task. I just have to finish this
Mm-hmm.
real quick. You're sore. So just stand up and move in a different way. Like you don't
Yeah.
have to, you know what I mean? Or move,
Yeah.
if you were, however, just move for a second. Where I think I didn't know how to listen to that before. I would just,
Mm,
or the thing is, you don't understand the consequence of not listening
yeah.
to that. So yeah, those are some huge foundational things that got me out of a rut.
Yeah, yeah, no, I love it, man. And you're kind of speaking some of like the mindset shifts that take
Yeah.
place. In this case, it's like you said, hey, if I'm sitting again, I don't necessarily have to get up, but I do have the microdose if I want to. But the point is that you understand it's important to move, and I think that's the biggest takeaway in this is you said, hey, if I'm take 7 minutes to move right now, that's going to be beneficial. And we talk about the energy bar, right? Beating up the energy bar. You
My
sit,
favorite.
you're like doing all this stuff, and then it's just beating up that energy bar. But if you take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 7 minutes, and you spread that throughout the day and do a microdose, you're at least maintaining your energy bar, right? You may not
Yeah.
be building it up, you may not be beating it down at the same time, right? And so
Right.
that it kind of sounds like you're referring to like that idea as like, oh, I'm sitting, I'm feeling it, oh, let me just shift a little bit, or maybe even just going like this, like, oh, the stretch, like that alone might be all
Yeah.
you need.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I was able to so I even with that I tried to build in some of the like the atomic habits like mentality of just habit stacking. So
Yeah.
at that point I would like I live in a condo, so I'd have to take or wait for the elevator quite at least a few times a day. So I'd be like, oh, okay, maybe I do this tibialis stretch or you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I would just stack little things the whole day. So yeah, it becomes kind of fun to be honest, because when you look at it like the energy bar or the power bar, you can kind of play this game where you're like, okay, this drained it. What little thing can I do to just
Mm,
add back to it, add into
hmm
it, add into it, and you start to just build these little habits that take very little effort
hmm
to just help yourself long term. So it's yeah, it becomes kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's like it's the lifestyle. And we were talking about this offline. It's the and when this happens, it's probably my proudest moment when people adopt these principles or they say these things. Clients of mine, I'm like so excited
Yeah,
because it's probably one of the most important things. It's like you form the identity around being somebody who moves because you realize that whatever age you are now in 25 years, 30 years, you want to be able to continue to move. And so you realize like I have to be this type of person because
yeah,
everything that's happened up to this point was the way I was living my life. So something's got to change and it has to be me, right?
yeah, yeah,
So I say all that just to say, brother, you like hit extreme highs. I remember not too long ago it was Christmas. You messaged me about like a big basketball tournament where you were playing amazing and you know what like your body stood up and there were some practices that you used that helped you get through. But not too long ago, I should say, maybe even just right now as we're talking, you actually had a big flare up, man. And I want to bring that up because
yeah.
this is something that is part of the process. When I was a year and a half into my recovery, feeling great, training, jumping, doing all this stuff, and I had a flare up, and I see it, with clients all the time. And so, in saying that, you're like, man, I've done all these things. I'm where I'm at. Like, you just told you laid out this awesome story for people listening. Like, oh man, this is amazing. Then now I'm saying like, oh, he just had a flare up. So I'll ask you a direct question. You can kind of take this wherever you want it, but tell me, why do you think this flare up happened?
It's your fault, basically. No, realistically, the best part of this is that whether it's the app in which you're quite literally tracking your workouts, or whether it's just the mindset shift where you're accountable to not only to you but to yourself because it's just how it ends up working. You could see, or I could see, how inconsistent I got with my workouts. And so this is a little bit of the cautionary tale. I was in so much pain. I did anything to get out of it. I reach out to you and you say, "This is the way." I slowly buy in and eventually fully buy in. I'm playing better than I was before. I remember texting you like, "I can move better than could move 5 years ago." Like this is my body's like,
hmm
pumped. I'm feeling great. I'm having lots of success. I have internal validation. Like I know I'm moving better. I have external people like, "Hey, like how you doing it?" And so what happened is I lost focus. So I became happy with being active. I wasn't necessarily training my back the same way anymore because it wasn't a goal because it wasn't in pain. So that's where I done messed up. You know what I mean? So I was like just hooping and I start to weigh it out like this. I can hoop, but I know I have this workout. But oh, I'm gonna hoop because it's still being active. So it's still being healthy. But
mm,
my goal is not to just be active and healthy, it's to really improve for me, it was to improve my back pain, improve my overall fitness, right? And so that's where I lost focus. And then when I had the major flare up, in hindsight, I've been getting little warnings. I kind of
mm,
tweaked my hammy a little bit. I had a tiny, a few day back flare up, but I was just justifying it, right? Oh, this is what happens when you play. So it happens when you play. But only upon 2020 hindsight, I wasn't having any little tweaks or flare-ups when I was just locked into my workouts. So long-winded way of saying I had a major flare-up because I lost focus and stopped working on my mobility. You know what I mean?
mm, mm,
And then, unfortunately, I can look at my app and it's like, oh, you missed this whole week. Oh, you did one workout. Oh, you
yeah.
did. And so it just kind of like I lost sight, and I thought I fixed back pain and didn't have to worry about it. Where it's not you just
Mm,
fix it, it's just you habitually improve and maintain it, right? So
mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
that's the long way of saying
Yeah.
I done
Yeah.
messed up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, man, because
Yeah, yeah,
it's my story and it's many other people's. It's like because because we are in pain, we treat the pain as like, hey, I got to fix this. We fix it, and we get evidence that we've been fixed long enough, and it's different for everyone. And then we say, I don't have to do this anymore. I'm good, you know.
yeah,
And and I've been victim to it myself, but now, I've learned. I'm like, okay, I'm not like you have a flare up when you feel like you're on top of the world, and it's pretty
yeah,
devastating.
yeah,
And so now I've learned, and I see that you're learning, or you've learned that like there's things that you just have to continue to do. And so those lessons and the protocols and all the things that you said, the mindset shifts that you had, the things that you do now have to be done essentially. And I say this, and I don't mean this to scare, because I remember when I had this. I remember the moment when I had this fear. I said, "Am I going to have to deal with this for the rest of my life?" Because at that point, I was doing morning routines, and like, and then and it was scary because I'm like, no, I just want my life back. I don't want to have to deal with this the rest of my life. But the thing that then I realized, I'm like, well, I'm not in pain and I'm able to do stuff. And so if
yeah,
me dealing with this for the rest of my life is just moving and becoming somebody that actually takes care and listens to his body, I'm cool with that, because at the end of the day, it's like somebody saying, you know what, when I'm 75, when I'm 80, I want to be a strong 75, 80-year old, but
yeah,
they're not even working out right now.
yeah, yeah,
So good luck. Right. And so you realize that the things that you want to do when you're older have to be done now for the rest of your life. If you want to be able to walk when
yeah,
you're 80, you have to spend time with putting in steps now. If
yeah,
you wait till you're 75, you will have a walker and you will not be able to walk. And
right,
so this mindset shift was massive for me. But sometimes it comes on the other end. And for me, it did, on having a flare up, because you're like,
yeah,
shit, okay, I thought I did it. Clearly I didn't, you
right.
know?
Yeah,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
It's the long game, as you and I
yeah.
have talked about, and I'm sure you share it. It's actually the long game, and like you said, do I have to do this forever? It's like, do you want to be able to move forever? Like it's
Mm,
connected, right? So it's not a one-time quick fix. It's actually long term. And the cool thing about it is you're actually improving your mobility the whole way
yes,
through. So it's not
yes,
like, oh, I do this forever and I just maintain some level of like half decent. You're actually constantly improving. And I'm willing to
yes.
bet as we get older and less people are focused on that or haven't started early enough, we're gonna feel some type of like next level of superhuman stuff because we can move. Where when
Hmm.
we're 70 or 80, we're moving in a way that, other maybe your average 7-year-old isn't moving. So we'll feel that next level of like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm athletic for an 80-year-old or whatever it is. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I'm curious to see, but
yeah.
yeah, it's not you're just maintaining normal. You're actually
Yeah.
improving. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the hope. And that was my deal as well, is that you actually can become a better version of yourself than you were right before you had the back pain. Because typically what happens is you have the back pain, like you said, because of many other reasons. And that's kind of like the back pain is like the cherry on top, or the
Yeah.
back moment.
Yeah.
But now, if you can flip all that and improve on all the things that were causing you to get to that point, you'll actually should feel better,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So, and
Well,
that was you. You're moving better, you know?
that's it. Well, I remember asking you like getting when I start to see some improvements, I remember being like, yo, so technically will I be able to jump higher or run faster? And you were you were cool in saying it's like it's not necessarily that, but I think you had a past client who was just telling you like you feel more grounded. And I was like, man, what the hell does that mean? Like trying to jump, but I remember feeling it. It's like I felt like all of my muscles were optimized for that sporting event I was doing, and so I just felt better. Like I just
Hmm.
so was I jumping higher or faster? I don't know, but everything felt better. And the
Hmm.
biggest thing I remember texting you maybe too often about this was the next day I could play again,
Yeah.
and the next day I could play again. Where before I had adopted this like load management excuse where I'm like, no, no, I don't play 2 days in a row. Like, but really I couldn't. My knees were too sore, my back was whatever. So that was
Mm-hmm.
like the superhuman part where I'm like, I feel good enough to play again if I want to. I'm not like riddled in pain the next day after a basketball session. Or hoopers know, if you're an older hooper, you're you feel some type of pain the next
Yes.
day typically, where it doesn't, I'm telling you now, it doesn't have to be that way. So it's
Yeah.
pretty dope.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Or even if you did have some pain, the amount that you're feeling can be diminished significantly, you
Absolutely.
know? Like it's
Absolutely.
that's one thing I always say, like when people start this journey with back pain. I've had people ask me like, what kind of guarantees can you give me that I'll be out of pain? I'm like, none, zero. But what I
Yeah.
can guarantee you is that you will improve. To what
Yeah.
degree, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But and that's essentially what you're saying. Like, hey, for you, you were able to hoop back to back days. Hey,
Yeah.
for some people, it might just mean that like they're able to hoop at all, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they do have to take a rest. I don't know. Like, but it's the point of like improving beyond what your former state was, you know?
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
What would you tell somebody, or maybe what's something that you wish people understood about chronic pain or healing from it?
One thing I would say is it's not, I would say it's not simply because you're getting older.
Mm.
That's something that's become a little bit jarring when I hear now, and I know it's a little weird, and I have to like bite my tongue or navigate how I do this. But a lot of stuff, especially maybe in the sports world or whatever, is like when you have an injury or a tweak or a flare up or you're sore, we so simply say like, "Oh, you're getting older, man." Like, "Oh, you're getting older, man. You still hooping like that? You're getting older, man." Where I understand what they're saying and it's not always malicious, but I think it's maybe too normalized where, we've worked together a few years and I've found like I'm feeling better than younger people. So is it because I'm getting older or is it because
Mm.
I'm not moving properly? Is it
Mm.
so I just wish people would maybe take a little more emphasis off, oh, you're getting older, you're just gonna break down. It's not like that. You just have to actually purposefully maintain and put in effort to be able to move, right? So I think that's one thing I wish people would know is like I have a ton of sports friends who are hurt or injured. It's not because you're older, it's because you're
Hmm.
not optimized. So that's like
Yeah.
maybe a whole mindset. Maybe it's too deep, but yeah,
Yeah.
I just wish that wasn't so easily accepted, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's more of like the and we won't go on a tangent with this, but like the trappings of the modern lifestyle type
Yeah, yeah.
thing, you know. You're getting older, so you can just use this knee brace or use this,
Right.
you're never actually like looking at the root cause of what's happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, the
Yeah.
symptom is this. So, and if everyone around you has that, you're like, well, I guess that's just what it is.
What it
And as
is.
we discussed, like your body does not heal as quickly when you are older, right? So it may require maybe a slightly different approach, but
Right.
it's not because you're getting older,
Yeah.
right? It's, it might be more because you're getting older for you to maintain the level that you want. You just have to do things differently,
Yeah.
right? But it's not just a pure amount of age. It's because, you sit all day, you don't actually
Yeah.
move,
Yeah.
and you've been doing that now for 20 years as you've gotten older.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen, right? You are like you're literally determined by your movement. It's just the
Yeah.
way it goes.
Yeah.
Simple as that. That's why you said like I have a standing desk now. Like that little thing alone will have a ripple effect where your body gets the opportunity to move while you work.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so yeah, no, it's big time, man. I love that. That's a concept that I see quite often, and that's
Right.
that's also the quick fix thing where people are like, well, like guarantee me that I'm gonna get better because they have that idea of like a surgery or the medication, it makes the pain go away, an injection makes the pain go away. So they're attached to this idea that like there's not things that they can do in their life, whether it be
Yeah,
their
right.
training, that will
Right.
actually that will change their outcomes. Even though, because again, and I promise I won't rant too long on this. Even though they're, well, I would say this is likely because of again that modern mentality. There's not any accountability to actually what you've been doing. It's
Yeah.
the, oh, you're getting older, so
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're supposed to have this pain, so it's
That's
fine. It's
it.
actually not your fault. Just
Yeah.
take the med, take this. I need the quick fix. This one workout's going to fix me. No, it's
Yeah, yeah.
likely because of all these things you've been doing for your entire life that have led you to this point. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
No,
And so,
No, thanks for bringing up the meds part too, because that's something I've noticed as I'm in a, well, luckily I'm not in a flare up anymore, but when I was in that flare up, I remember just like friends or family, and like let me say this with like with care, there it's not malicious or
Mm,
anything like that. It's out of care, it's out of love. They're like, "Oh, like what do you need? You need some like, like ibuprofen, or did you take anything or whatever?" So it's out of love they're saying it. But, because we have talked a lot and the different mentality, I remember having a convo where I'm like, "Oh, I'm not really a meds guy." Just naturally, even before we met, it's just not
mm,
really what I do. So it helped that I'm not really a meds guy. And I remember my friend saying, "Oh, but it just takes the edge off a bit." I guess the pain. This sounds like
yeah.
dopiest, but they literally said it takes the edge off a bit. But I know they meant the pain, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I said half jokingly, I'm like, oh, I actually like the pain because we had kind of talked, and you taught me like the pain is actually a cue you need because your body's essentially protecting you at the moment. Like you ain't ready to move like that. So I'm
Mm,
like, I said like, oh, I actually need the pain a little bit, and they said like, oh, I just want it to go away. And
mm,
it just hit me in a totally deeper way than that person meant at all. But I'm like, I actually know the pain is my friend in a weird way because it's saying, dude, protect yourself for this moment. You're not really ready to move in certain ways. So I'm letting you know, don't do too much, right?
mm,
Where
mm,
if I was to take the med and just take the edge off, now I'm in the risk of feeling a little good. I might do, a little something extra and then hurt it worse long term. So it was just
mm.
like a weird moment that wasn't supposed to be like this deep teaching moment for me, but it hit me in a certain way. I'm like, ah, the pain is your friend in this instant. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Also,
man.
as my coach, am I completely off in that? I gotta ask.
Oh, no, you're 100%. That's
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
man. That's it. Like that's your pain is your friend. Cause I actually have gotten even further. Your pain isn't your friend. Your pain is you.
Okay. Okay.
It's you. Where is this pain coming from? It's your
Right.
body, man. Like
Yeah.
and this is where like I say your friend, your pain is friend, not an enemy, but like,
Yeah. Yeah.
where is it coming from? Your brain.
Right.
It's literally you.
Right.
And so this is the classic thing where people often where you see this, and this is probably where again self accountability comes into this, and this is why I love that you just shared that story, where people when they are suffering or bad things happen to them, they typically blame other people. But when
Right.
it's a good thing, oh, I did that. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
me,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But if it's a bad thing like pain, it hurts. Oh no, no, shut the fuck up. I don't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
hear it from you. It's
Right.
you.
Right.
Like it's you, it's your
Right.
body, right? And so I'm really happy you said that because it's like, yeah, there are going to be times where we do want to mitigate suffering. So I'm not saying this from any insensitive place, but
Right.
far too often people are encouraged to go to meds when they do not need them. And then
Yeah.
what
Right.
that does is it sets up that vicious cycle like you just explained,
Right.
wherein now they become dependent on them because they are so fearful of pain for one, and
Right.
they also are being taught that when you feel pain, something's wrong,
Right.
right? And if they cancel the pain, then something's not wrong anymore
Gotcha.
because they're using the pain as the metric. And
Right.
rather than it being, oh, my body's telling me something, right? And so that's why I was really happy you said that because yeah,
Okay.
you know, obviously if you're in so much pain where you know it's like dark times or you're practically crying because you can't move and you need to do it temporarily so that your body can calm down, that's one thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But people
Right.
go to like, oh, I have a little headache. Let me take that Tylenol like right away. And I'm just like, can you show like maybe give it a chance to like go away because
Yeah.
maybe you
Yeah.
just need to breathe a little bit. Maybe you need to take a
Yeah.
nap. Maybe drink some water. Like,
Yeah.
anyways, that's a whole other tangent. But like, man, like what do you mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but again, but I don't necessarily blame. It's like blaming. It's the same idea of saying like, hey, fast food is everywhere. It's so accessible and like, no one's promoting eating healthy food. Like say that's
Right.
the reality you live in. And then you're getting mad at people for eating the thing that's in front of them all the time. It's like,
Right.
well, there's the societal issue of it, and then there's a personal accountability. So that's why I always try to like get through to people. It's like
Right.
at the end of the day, you're accountable to yourself and only you.
Mhm.
And if you are looking around and other people are accepting something, like for example, it's because you're getting old, it's not that you can accept that and that's completely fine. Like there's nothing wrong. These are just beliefs, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you want a different outcome, you have to take different actions. So if you
Right.
want an uncommon action, you have to result. You have to take an uncommon action,
Right. Right.
right? And so first of all, it's like doing things differently. And so that's the thing that I really like, that moment you explained with the meds. It's like I'm not going to do that because I actually don't want that outcome, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, a little bit of a tangent there, but I get fired
No.
up. I get fired up about this stuff, bro. I'm just like,
How you?
yeah, exactly. So on that note, though, now we're here talking to the whoever's listening right now,
Right.
whoever's listening to me rant, and like they turned it off already because they're like, this guy's nuts. But if you could now go and talk like to yourself in the past when
Yeah.
you were at that worst moment, man, like you can't
Right.
even be a dad, you can't hoop, you're wondering if this is going to be around forever, you're wondering if you're going to have drop foot, what would
Right.
you actually say?
It's crazy. Um, it's crazy, and it seems so simple. Where you're like, you basically tell. I would tell myself, first of all, it's all good. You'll be okay. Just do these simple actions. And it sounds so
Mm.
like, oh, okay, bro, like chill. Yeah, if I told myself that at that moment, I'd be like, yeah, go around somewhere, like go play, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just crazy. It's so true. And I only share this because I guess 26 days ago, I had a huge flare up where I don't even know if I told you, I did have a little bit of that numbness in my foot, slightly,
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
quite as bad as before, but it definitely was there. And it's the way I could deal with it this time was completely different because I just had the information that it'll be okay,
Mm.
chill out, do these simple movements over time, right? And so it was almost a weird blessing that I had this second flare up about 2 years later, because number one, I'm out of it quite significantly faster, but also with a way better mentality through the whole thing. So I didn't get to any super low points because luckily we had been working together. I think you even said it's okay, you'll get through it. And I just knew what to do. And for the record, I was out of it within 14 days, where last time
Hmm.
it was months because I had no plan of attack. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, just a long-winded way of saying if I was to talk to myself before, uh, it's all good. There is a change you'll have to make to your essentially your movement patterns, your lifestyle, how you move throughout your life, but it's nothing drastic. You know what I mean? It's not like,
Hmm.
oh, you have to do hot yoga 7 times a week. It's not like this crazy thing. It's just daily small movements. Plus, if you're trying to like climb like I am, then add in, 3 workouts a week, 2 workouts a
Hmm.
week, whatever it is. But yeah, it's crazy how simple it is, but it's not easy, right?
Hmm. Yeah, simple, not easy, man.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
So for those people who are listening right now, and I appreciate you sharing the like you'd be like, hey, like you can get through this because that's the amount of times I tell people they're like, it's over, and I'm like, it's not. You're all right. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
and this is what I will say: the flare up is a feature of the healing process. It's not a bug, meaning
Okay.
it's not that it's supposed to happen, but when it does, it's not like a bug in the system. Oh, it's not supposed to be there. No, it is. And
Yeah.
that's part of the process. In some cases, people have a pretty, they're ascending the whole time. And other times people have flare ups within the first month. They get better and then boom, they have a flare up.
Yeah.
It just varies from everyone. But the point
Right.
is what do you, this is the key. Each time you have a flare up is what did you learn from it?
Yeah, yeah.
And what modifications, changes, or things will you do from that point to
Right.
make it so that that doesn't happen again?
Right.
And that's the biggest piece of information I can tell anyone. And this is why, because whenever I'm working with someone, I can tell them you'll be okay because they have my ear. I'm there for them. I have their ear, I
Yeah.
should say, or however that saying is. I'm there to support them and guide them and tell them what to do and what not to do. And
Right.
so the flare up is part of the process. And so if you're listening right now and you're following a process and you're pushing your body a little bit, or you're trying new things and you have a flare up, it's part of the process. If you've
Right.
been better for 3 months and you have a flare up, it's also part of the process.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
point is what have you learned from that, right? What maybe
Right.
like like your example, well, you stopped doing something, right? I was good for 3 months. I stopped doing the things that I was doing.
Yeah.
And then I had the flare up. Or in some cases, maybe you pushed your body too hard because you were feeling good and then you had the flare up. But there's always something to learn from it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's big time.
I think
Um,
that's a key part of the last note. It's just a key part of the body rebuild system is the mindset shift in terms of personal accountability. And
mm,
so I was just thinking about, because I met a ton of your clients at the seminars and through the webinars, and the one theme I noticed is everyone was so accountable to what they were doing in a flare up to get out of the flare up, because it, like you said, it's your body. So we can always look back and be like, oh yeah, I ended up pushing through this for no reason, or I stopped doing it. So I think that's one of my favorite parts is you actually control
mm,
e- you control everything. And even through the flare up, you still control your mindset on how to get out of it. So it's kind of a cool aspect of control you could take even through, like awesome times and then maybe not so awesome times.
yeah, yeah. And I love that personal accountability. It's one of the values, man.
Yeah.
One of the values I see. So, okay, I have one more question for you. And this is
Yeah, sure.
for, the person who stayed to the end and they're like, man, this has been gold. Kris has been enlightening me. I want to get back to
Yeah.
hooping. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? What would be something simple that you would recommend someone start today that's listening if they're in pain? They're in pain right now. They're listening to me ask you this question. What would be one simple thing that you'd recommend that they can start doing right away that you think would help them?
Oh man. One simple thing.
Yeah.
One would be just to send you a DM. Just to be
Yeah.
like, just do what I did. I did the
Yeah.
softest launch. What's up, man? Like, how's it going?
Yeah.
I slow played it so bad, but it's just sometimes if you don't have the info, especially like I did in the flare up, you can't you need the info, right? And it doesn't have to be
Mm,
all the info, but you need a little something from
yeah.
someone who's been through it. And so, because the first thing that came to mind, I'd tell them just to lay down somewhere. But then I realized, I remember I couldn't lay down somewhere when I was in pain. It hurt, right?
Yeah.
So, jokingly and not jokingly, send you a DM because there's just you just need a little bit of info and
Mhm,
then you can like think back and read why am I in a flare up and understand and then kind of start to slowly cut out those habits. So whether it's
mm,
maybe you just sit at a desk all day like I was, okay, lower lumbar pillow, stand up more often. So it actually is very simple actions over time and you can just start to stack them. But
mhm,
yeah, I
mhm,
would say just get the right info from someone who's had it probably worse than you or just as bad, you know?
mhm,
That's what I
Yeah. So seek help, essentially, is what you're saying, right? From someone who's gone through it. Don't just try to gut it out on your
No,
own.
that's key from someone who's gone through it. Don't go Google MD like I did. It's someone who's done it. That's
Yeah,
the key
yeah,
part.
100%, 100%. And so, if you're listening right now and like you're like, oh, that's great, or I don't want, send this random guy a DM.
Yeah.
In the description below, or if you're watching this somewhere else, you're listening on a podcast, I have a free program. So just comment back pain, reach out to me on Instagram. All that information will be below, but you can access this stuff. And so I give a lot of this stuff away for free. I work with people one-on-one who want that help, but I give away the knowledge. So if you're looking for it, it'll be in the description, or you can DM me on Instagram and I'll give it to you as well. Okay. So that's my gift to, I do that to like, just like help people on this path. And, it's crazy when we first started working together, like I had one basic workout, that would teach people some of these concepts. And I've expanded that to more and more because I feel like there's all the things we've talked about today, all those, accountability and like, don't pick the scab and the mindset around it and all that is so important. So I've given people a little bit of all that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man, I appreciate you taking the time, brother. I know this has
Oh,
been, an up and down. Maybe, like you said, 2 years, man. It's funny because I actually remember the first DM. I think we went full Tyson, and you're like, it's spinal. I'm almost positive you said that at
yeah.
some point.
I try to try to laugh at my pain, try to make a joke out of
Yeah,
it. Inside, I
exactly.
only had a single tear as I texted.
Yeah. But really, man, I'm proud of you. I love to see some of the mindset shifts you've taken on, and it's again, it's just a journey, man. The journey of life, journey of your body. And I said this at our meetup. the last one, I said, there's like, this is an opportunity, right? When you have your back pain moment, it's an opportunity to connect with yourself in a way you've probably never done it before.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope for is whenever I connect with someone is that they understand that this is a long game and you can connect with your body in a way that you never have. And
Yeah.
you are clearly showing that, man. So when I say I'm proud of you, it's for that because I know you're going to be better off in the long term through
Appreciate
that process. So, man, yeah. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing the
it.
story.
Anytime, brother. I appreciate all your help. You know that.
Yeah, brother. Awesome. All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Peace.